It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Throws, ends it. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! Did he get it?
Hey everybody, I'm trying to get set up here. It was a mess because I grabbed the wrong set of headphones. They weren't plugged in, and then the ones I did grab were cranked up to 322. So I was
looking over here watching Jason struggle.
It was, and I was already like flipping through notes and trying to get my all my notes ready, and just it was already late, and then I had to deal with the headphone drama.
That's always fun.
So welcome everyone to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker and Eric Frandsen, live on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, streaming online 1069thefan.com and the 1069 The Fan mobile app, and maybe allegedly on TuneIn or whatnot, or I don't know if did that ever get resolved.
I haven't checked on the TuneIn.
So there's a bunch of
if there's somebody text in and let us know.
Yeah, because when I first got hired, it wasn't working at all. And it was just this big old thing with all the stations.
Yeah, but I think we did get a lot of that resolved. We did get that resolved.
But yeah, for today's show, got plenty of stuff going on. Summer League kind of coming to its close, kind of recapping a little bit. We've got 3 former Aggies who have concluded their Summer League play. Some good, some we wish they were better. Of course, one former Aggie isn't done yet, and he's he's on a roll so far. Sam Merrill getting named to the first team all Summer League, but he's got one more game to play. He'll play in the Summer League Championship game, which takes place tonight at 7. I've also got Pick 6 results. I've been on an absolute roll. Eric's just trying to get along.
Yes, the struggle bus is real for the old Pick 6 in the summertime.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to break that today, how well things went as we show the results of what we tried to predict over the weekend. The Utah Jazz signed a new center, became official moments ago, like only 10, 15 minutes ago. It came across the news wire. And then over the weekend, you may have missed it because it got announced like Sunday afternoon, Utah State getting a commitment from a former 4-star corner who's coming by way of, it's kind of Nebraska and UCF. He was only ever committed to Nebraska, but spent a few years at UCF. So,
yes,
plenty to go on. And then also the return of the top 25 Aggies.
Yeah, we're going to preview that just a little bit. It's something that we started last year. We had a lot of fun with it, counting down, leading up to the start of the season, giving a little more dedicated attention to each player on that list as we got closer. We will mention later on this week, there were a number of players who appeared on people's ballots but didn't receive enough points to make it onto the top 25. So we will do an honorable mention show this week where we'll talk about the various players who are worth noting but just didn't make it into our top 25.
Yeah, so the first announced player, number 25, will be released, I believe, Friday is when we have planned. And we'll basically go each one, and it'll conclude with number 1, which I think will be the Thursday on the week before game week. So I don't know if that made any sense, but it'll basically be like 9 days before the first game of the regular season is when we'll have number 1.
Yeah, we've enlisted Hall of Famer Al Lewis to once again help us and make these announcements. It'll be fun to do that. You'll hear who the player is, a little bit of their background, biographical information, and then Jason and I will get into some of the reasons why we believe this particular player was ranked like he was, and discuss how he can impact the team for this upcoming season, and dedicate attention to that one individual player once a day, starting here in late July, going through a good chunk of August, getting you ready to up until game time.
Yeah, it should be fun time on 9310 reminding us TuneIn is good to go.
Aha, there we go.
So
Excellent.
If you
Good
want
news.
to use TuneIn, if that's your radio stream of choice, then go for it. Any way you want to listen to the show, even afterward, podcast format, post it on 1069thefan.com or wherever you get your podcasts. We're on pretty much everything. You can find us, Full Court Press.
Yeah, we try to be platform agnostic, right? Like provide the content wherever you are, whenever it's available for you, whenever it's convenient for you to access it. So a lot of different ways to access it, and trying to do what we can to continue to bring unique content that's specific to what's going on in our neck of the woods. Certainly a strong focus on Utah State University, the local high schools. We'll talk about the Utah Jazz as well. We know a lot of Jazz fans in the area. So that will continue. But as we've said before, the invitation is always there that if you have a question or a comment to lead us down a different path on the text line, we will at least entertain it. 435-339-0321. In fact, somebody sent some texts in before the show even got started today. 2444 texting in saying, love seeing Sam named to the All-Summer League first team. I don't know if they give out an MVP or most outstanding player of Summer League, but it should be him.
They do give out an MVP. It did not go to Sam Merrill, though. It went to somebody else. A name some people might recognize. Because we were freaking out about it on draft night. It was Houston Rockets wing Cam Whitmore.
Mm-hmm.
The guy the Jazz, I guess, notably passed on twice. One of those was for Keyonte George, who was also named to first team All Summer League. I believe this was just for the Vegas Summer League. I don't think they took into account anything before.
Correct.
This was just the NBA 2K20, whatever year it is, Summer League tournament.
Yes, just for what's taking place in Las Vegas.
Which, granted, teams are only playing 1 or 2 or 3 games outside of the Vegas, so it's pretty much most of what anybody cares about. But anyway, so yeah, certainly some representation from local names in Summer League accolades. You get Sam Merrill in there, former Aggie. I think he's averaging about 18, 19 points per game at this point. 4 or 5 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds. I think in terms of his 3-point percentage, like 3-point percentage compared to volume, he's basically been the best 3-point shooter in the entire, Summer League. Like when I look at the leaderboard, there's him. He's taking like 11 threes per game, shooting 48%. I forget exactly how many 3-pointers made per game that comes out to, but so he's shooting 48% on like 11 threes per game. He's this mass volume. And there's a bunch of other players who are shooting 9, 10, 8 3-pointers per game. They're all in like the 30s, the 20s. Maybe one might sneak into the 40s. But like volume to percentage, Sam Merrill is just by far the best in the Summer League. So he's very much deserved for that, first team selection there.
Yeah, Sam's had a great summer. And I was reading some things about this Cleveland team overall. They're saying that the Summer League is just an extension of the Cleveland Charge. Is that the name of their G League team? So really highlighting some of the young players that have been developing on that team and its coaching staff, and praising just the development that's going on with the Cleveland young group. And what's happened this summer has just been an extension of what they were doing this past year in the G League. And so some familiarity with players and coaches can go a long way, and that's what Cleveland has certainly benefited from. But more specifically, Sam Merrill is healthy, and he's in shape, and he understands the NBA system and how he can play a role in that system, he's showing that he deserves to be on an NBA roster.
Yeah, and I mean, he is on an NBA roster, and it's kind of an assurance that he should stay there. Because, again, the worry is that he's on a non-guaranteed contract. Any minute, the Cavs can just say, all right, we're done. We're going to save a couple $1 million.
Right.
And for a team that's, going into try to win now mode, that's always a risk, cutting to save money, especially when we're talking about all the new, cap rules and second apron and all that. But Merrill's like, hey, I'm here. I ain't going away. And yeah, this being, extension of the G League, like he was lighting it up in G League. So would kind of make sense. He's found his groove. He knows what he can do. There's some things he needs to improve on, like defense and whatnot, but he went out there, and he's like, all right, I'm a shooter, and I shoot.
Yep.
And he made a lot of shots. So, did a great job. He's going to be on the Cavaliers roster probably for the rest of the season. Might spend some time in the G League still because he is on the back end of that roster. But if he can poke his head in there, get into the rotation a little bit, find some niche. Cleveland doesn't have a ton of great shooting on their roster. So if he can find a way to
be a specialist for them.
If he can find a way to be viable and go out there, there's a Duncan Robinson role you can play. Just make yourself viable out on the court, and he has an NBA skill, an elite level NBA skill. He can make it happen. But there's some other things that are holding him back right now. So if he can get past those, he's an NBA player. It's really nice to be able to say about a former Aggie.
Yes. Of course, Sam's had some very memorable moments in Las Vegas over his career.
Yeah, he's used to playing well in Vegas.
He knows how to make big shots there in those arenas. But it comes at a really good time for him trying to continue the NBA dream for him. Neemias Queta, he was having a good summer until he got hurt a little bit. But that's another guy who has shown he can play really well and has dominating performance in the G League. You think this guy is playing above the talent level in the G League right now. Why isn't he on an NBA roster? And that's much a function of just the Sacramento Kings not utilizing him at his position.
Yeah. Kings are going to king, I guess.
Yes.
They did well last year as a team, so it kind of made sense they maybe weren't as prioritizing getting a two-way center into their rotation. But, I mean, he is on year 3. If the Kings are ever going to do something, it might as well be this year. And, they put out the qualifying offer for him. He's probably going to return on a two-way contract. Maybe they sign him to a non-guaranteed deal. I don't know exactly what they're going to be doing. Queta can only take one more two-way deal before he becomes ineligible for that kind of contract due to his age. But, we'll see if they try and get him into the rotation there. Sometimes two-way guys are able to, get a contract. Sometimes it's like midway through the season. They convert a two-way into a full-time roster spot. But it is kind of weird with the Kings. I've said this before. They keep whining about how they don't have a backup center, and here's Neemias Queta standing there. Yeah. It's like, hi, 7-footer with a 7'4" wingspan, a block shots, a rebound, and I finish at the rim.
Yeah.
What else do you want from me? Can even pass,
passes very well out of the post.
And for an offense that has, one of the best passing centers in the league in Domantas Sabonis, you think having a guy like Queta, obviously he is not Sabonis in terms of passing or in scoring in a lot of ways, but a guy who can kind of do what Sabonis does in some ways, or at least has the vision to make smart passes. Like, he fits your system, I imagine. So I've been on this rant.
King's gonna Kings.
Already. Yeah, I've been on this rant like 3 or 4 times on this show.
So those two guys look like they have the best shot of playing regular or semi-regular, I should say, NBA minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say these are rotation guys right now, but they could be used in certain situations and potentially see that by the end of the season if things continue to go well for them. But it's most likely that Sam Merrill and Neemias Queta are guys that are going to see some time on NBA courts next season.
They're guys that are at some point going to dress for an NBA game. How much they play, if things don't go super well for either of them, it'll be like single-digit games played. Things go really well, they can maybe work their way into a rotation spot. But it would probably be toward the end of the season because both are still in that fighting for a rotation spot. Because they've mostly got a roster spot. At this point, they're fighting for a rotation spot.
Yes.
Yeah. So and then we have the other two former Aggies who are in Summer League, Justin Bean and Taylor Funk. These are guys that are fighting for a roster spot. They don't have that. They're on G League teams. Well, in case of Justin Bean, he was in the G League last year. Taylor Funk trying to hopefully jump into the G League, and I probably wouldn't have thought he was that kind of player. But he found his way into Summer League, playing a few minutes. We'll see if he manages to catch on with the G League team, because for Taylor Funk, it was a bit disappointing because the Miami Heat played 7 Summer League games. Funk sat in 3 of them, didn't play a single minute, and only averaged about 12 minutes when he was playing. So, and then in that case, he also struggled shooting.
Right, he was very inefficient.
Which is it's not a great sign. It's like, coaches are going to be smart enough to know that, okay, this probably isn't completely representative, but you do like to perform. This is an audition. And unfortunately, he didn't perform for whatever reason. Maybe he just, wasn't getting the minutes, wasn't getting the shots, or was just out of it.
He had looks. I mean, there's multiple games where he attempted at least 6 3-pointers, but he really had a hard time connecting. So I think I would be surprised if Taylor Funk gets a G League deal. I guess I wouldn't be total. Man, maybe I should walk that back. I wouldn't be shocked if he did.
See,
there's a chance that he would get a G League deal, but I think Justin Bean is still a G League player. I don't think he's quite at NBA level just yet.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Taylor Funk is I had the same thought where I was like, oh, with this performance, he's not even going to get a G League deal. But then I was remembering what Justin Bean did last year. Bean did nothing.
Yeah, it's very true.
He didn't play very well. He had
a very rough summer in Las Vegas.
And he had several games where he just didn't play. They sat him. But he played for the Memphis Hustle. Or I believe it was Memphis Hustle, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And now he's with Boston. So he managed to catch on somewhere. And I think, that may be for Taylor Funk, because you go find somewhere beyond the 15-man roster. He was on a G League team, which in a lot of cases, or he was on a Summer League team, which in a lot of cases can be similar to G League rosters. If he's good enough to make Summer League, he can probably catch on somewhere, but it just depends on if somebody likes him. Because that's the way it can be, is if a front office likes you, then they'll try and pick you up, even if it maybe doesn't make sense to us on the outside. So if somebody really likes Taylor Funk as far as his ability to be a stretch 4, 6'8", stretch 4, somebody might give him another chance. That's what we got to hope for.
Yeah, and Miami certainly has a rich history of finding guys and developing them who did not get selected in the draft, and then providing opportunities for them to flourish and to grow, and then putting them onto their roster and getting them into rotational minutes. So Miami is a really good organization to try to make his way, if that's something that he can stay dedicated and keep working at it. But if you look at, if we were to put it on a spectrum of most likely to least likely, Sam Merrill is most likely, followed by Nemish Queta. Then there's a little bit of a gap between Nemi and Justin Bean, and then there's another gap between Justin Bean and Taylor Funk.
Yeah, we know Sam Merrill is going to be on a roster. At least we're pretty darn sure, unless they randomly decide to cut him, which would be weird at this point. Nemish Queta probably going to get another 2-way contract. Justin Bean pretty likely to be on Boston's G League team this upcoming season. And Taylor Funk, he's holding on for dear life to try and get a call to be on a G League team. Maybe Miami brings him into their own G League team, or maybe he goes somewhere else. We'll see, because Justin Bean, he played his summer league with the Clippers last year.
Right, yeah, that's true.
And then he ended up with Memphis and their organization, and then he moved to Boston. So we'll see how it all goes. It'll certainly be interesting.
Coming up, we do need to take a timeout here in the Full Court Press, but coming up on the other side, we did mention some end of the Summer League recognitions that took place. And so we mentioned Sam there, another notable player made that list. Utah Jazz made a roster move today. We'll talk about that. introduce you to the newest Jazz player. And as we teased earlier in the show as well, it looks like Utah State's adding another member to their secondary, to their football secondary. So more additions all around, Utah Jazz and the Utah State Aggies.
Yeah, plenty to talk about, and we'll talk about it coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
Don't get caught without power to your home or business. This is Tyler with Golden Spike Electric. We offer Generac backup generators to keep your home or business warm, avoiding frozen pipes, loss of valuable food, or even a flooded basement. Golden Spike Electric is certified and factory trained, so you know it will be installed right and properly maintained. Contact Golden Spike Electric so you'll never be without power again. Online at gsegenerators.com. We also service other brands, Golden Spike Electric and Generac, power you can count on.
Forget the weather this summer with York Home Comfort Systems. Now's your chance to get local rebates, financing options, and industry-leading manufacturer-backed warranties on your new home comfort system. Plus, you can get up to $2,000 in tax credits with IRA 25C federal tax credit. Installing a York Home Comfort System's even more affordable. Maximize your savings and forget the weather this summer. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning Showroom is west of DI. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, the Allergy Clinic and Hearing Aid Center are conveniently located at 2 locations, North Logan inside the new Three Peaks Medical Plaza and Providence on Gateway Drive. Doctors Benyon, Blotter, and Robinette, along with the entire staff, have over 75 years of combined medical experience, guaranteeing your family the very best patient care. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat serves all of northern Utah and southern Idaho and accepts most insurance products, including SelectMed. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for appointments and details. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, North Logan and Providence.
Copiers, printers, service, and supplies are just the beginning. Les Olson IT is the premier source for your business's structured cabling, IT, software, telephones, and security systems. We partner with you to find the ideal solution to all of your office technology needs. Tell us your goals and we'll get you there. Find out more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
No matter what the conditions, DD Auto and Salvage can get your vehicle up and off your property. Now is the time to plan to make extra cash by calling DD Auto and Salvage and moving that old vehicle. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy to get rid of your junker vehicles, paying you the most money possible. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
Tonight at 7 p.m., there's going to be a bull riding event in the Tremonton IFA parking lot. NFR bull riders are going to ride a designated number of bulls, and for everyone they stay on, local businesses donate money. This is a fundraiser, and all proceeds go to April Jones. April works for the county auditor's office. She had a rare stroke and has had to spend 30 days on a respirator. She's a widowed mother of 6 kids, and the medical bills are piling up. If you can help April, this is a free event. You can go watch bull riders tonight, 7 p.m. in the Tremonton IFA parking lot.
It doesn't matter who you root for. The Full Court Press has all the high school sports covered. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Woohoo is right. It's Monday, everybody. Aren't we all excited?
Woohoo.
Woohoo. That actually went better than I thought it was going to go.
Yours had a little more enthusiasm than mine did.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Been talking about NBA Summer League a little bit. Couple of local names receiving some recognition. Sam Merrill and Keyonte George, each being named to the backcourt of the first team. It's kind of weird that they just separate into backcourt and front court, which is probably nice. It's harder to separate it by like guard, forward, center, that type of thing. They just do backcourt, front court, and the 2 backcourt spots were taken up by a former Aggie and the Utah Jazz rookie, Keyonte George. So certainly a nice little announcement there. I was a little surprised Sam Merrill made it just because, I don't know, I think the fact that he had that 27-point game and just was an insane 3-point shooter, very deserving, even though he wasn't like at the top of the, all the points and stuff. There's some other players who may be a little more scoring, but Merrill was just crazy efficient.
Yeah, very efficient and consistent. Pretty consistent in what he was able to do. Obviously he had that one game where he just went nuts. But, great to see him getting that recognition. Keyonte George was a revelation. We have somebody who was one of your guys on the first team was somebody who was selected as like the last guy in 2020 who was bounced around in the G League, hasn't really made a roster spot. He is in Sam Merrill. And so you have a couple of these guys. Cam Whitmore was later in the first round at 20. So you had some players coming into the summer league with kind of some chips on their shoulder with something to prove. And that sometimes is where the most fun can be, when guys want to go out there and try to prove something that they got passed on.
And Summer League is really the time to do it because they just kind of let you loose. Like, there's going to be points of emphasis, coaching, and these kind of things. But these kind of guys, they're like, all right, I'm really talented, got a lot of skill. You even in that, at 16, at 20, or even the back end of the draft, these are all talented guys. And you put them in the right situation, they're going to go out there, they're going to ball. And, well, these guys all balled.
Yes, they did.
That's what they did. But I guess my thing is, so with Cam Whitmore being not only on the first team, he was the MVP, averaging 20 points, almost 6 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 3 steals, only a couple of turnovers, shot 46% from the field. Any regrets about passing on him? Maybe not so much picking Keyonte George over Cam Whitmore, because I'll be honest, if Keyonte George played out the rest of the Summer League games, he's probably MVP over Cam Whitmore.
Probably, if he hadn't rolled his ankle.
Yeah.
Because he was having, statistically, better impact for his team. He was doing more on the court, and he was probably, I agree, he was the front runner for the MVP until he rolled his ankle.
Yeah, so, but Taylor Hendricks sitting out, we can't pass any judgment on Taylor Hendricks in the moment. It's like, do you think that Cam Whitmore, makes you wonder? I don't think it is for me, but you do wonder, because, like, if the concerns that we heard about are real, the concerns about him maybe not trying as hard as he could in the workouts, or maybe attitude issues. Like, there's rumors and rumblings. Obviously nothing like confirmed, and it's hard to know that kind of stuff, but there had to be some reason that he fell to 20 after there were mock drafts picking him as high as like 5.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if those concerns are real, they wouldn't necessarily show up in Summer League. This is not where that would show up. And Cam Whitmore's style is very much, it really works in Summer League. But the thing is, if you play this well in Summer League, we're talking about how Keyonte George played this well in Summer League, so it must mean something, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So does it mean that for
Cam Whitmore? It's hard to have it one way for one guy and not for the other.
And, like, you look at the last, MVPs of the Summer League, the most prestigious award you can earn.
That's right.
Ever. MVP
hanging
of
in the
Vegas
rafters.
Summer League. Then you got Keegan Murray, Davian Mitchell, Cam Thomas, Brandon Clark, Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, Tyus Jones. I mean, this isn't exactly a who's who of future All-NBA players, but there's not really
decent.
There's not a bad name on this list.
Yeah, those are decent players.
Like, that's all the Vegas MVP since, like, 2016. Every one of those guys is at least a rotation player. So, did you miss on a rotation player in Cam Whitmore? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Are we eventually going to regret drafting Taylor Hendricks instead of Cam Whitmore?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Still to be
We'll
determined.
See. You never know.
Still to be determined. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's what we can see versus what we don't know. And Cam Whitmore was somebody who was available that they could have selected. According to some of the things that I've read, the Jazz were debating hard at that 9th pick. Do we take Keyonte George, or Hendricks? They ultimately went with Hendricks. And when George was still available at 16, they were beside themselves. It didn't take them long to submit the pick because that was somebody they almost pulled the trigger on with the 9th selection.
Yeah, because I think they had Hendricks and Keyonte George kind of both at the end of their top 10 of players in terms of their own personal draft board, which I don't know how much I trust that anymore because supposedly it had Udoka Azubuike pretty high on their draft list, but whatever.
Yeah.
It seemed to work out in this draft, at least with Keyonte. But yeah, they clearly just weren't interested in Cam Whitmore. So, and we liked the Keyonte George pick. I was not super high on initially. Much more excited about it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
We'll see how all this pans out in the NBA.
Again, if you want to weigh in on that, I guess you feel free to chime in, 435-339-0321. Before we get into some Aggie stuff, there was more news from the Utah Jazz today. They did make a signing a 6'11" player who spent some time last year in Miami. And you looked up the pronunciation, so I'll let you have a go at it.
Well, it's pronounced about as much as you'd see it spelled. It's Omer Yurtseven. Omer Yurtseven. That's pretty much how it's spelled sounds. If you add a Turkish accent to that, it'll sound a little bit better.
I played his college ball at Georgetown. 6'11", 275 pounds. He's a big guy.
He's a center.
He's a center, and played for Miami last year.
Last 2 years he's played for Miami.
Yes, that's true. Played 2 seasons for the Heat. Hasn't done a heck of a whole lot.
Yeah. He'll want to remember that season 2 years ago because that's where he played 56 games, only 9 last year. And I don't know if that's injury or if they just sat him. I didn't look too deep into this.
Well, he had some time during the playoffs, but very sparingly. Those were garbage minutes.
Yeah.
We didn't see a lot of him last year. But just another big bodies to put in. Just add some depth to the Utah Jazz behind Walker Kessler, Kelly Olynyk. I guess Taylor Hendricks if he plays this year.
You gotta have a small ball 5 because Yurtseven he's gonna be center. There's a hint of him maybe being able to shoot 3-pointers. His volume in pro, I probably should have looked up his college numbers, but his volume in pro hints that he can probably shoot the 3, but just being a edge of the rotation guy, his percentages aren't really going to be really reflective of what he can do. But this is basically the Jazz missed out on Paul Reed. They want a third string center. You bring him in. They're paying him just shy of $3 million this upcoming season. It's a 2-year contract. Year 2 is probably non-guaranteed. It's a roster spot. It's a guy who can definitely play minutes in the NBA. Maybe not high volume, but have him play minutes. You got a guy if you need him.
Right. He's got some NBA experience, big body, length, and what Utah may lack in star names, known NBA stars, they've made up for it in length and depth. Because you look at the different positions Utah has and different lineups they can throw at you on the court. Utah can be really long and very athletic at multiple positions, which is going to be really interesting to see how this team comes together and how they use some of the personnel.
Yeah, there's not really any position where you can say, oh, yeah, they're undersized. The only time they're going to be undersized is when they're deliberately so. They say, oh, hey, let's play Taylor Hendricks at the 5 for this lineup and see how that works. And, okay, yeah, Taylor Hendricks, 6'9", he'd be under-centered at 5. But he's not under-center or undersized at power forward. Neither is John Collins or Walker Kessler. Lauri Markkanen's oversized for his position.
Right.
Heck, if you play him at center, he's still, he might be undersized in terms of his weight, but lengthwise he's doing fine. And, even in the backcourt where there's not necessarily supersized, where it's okay, Jordan Clarkson, Ochai Agbaji, 6'5", that's about average. Keyonte George, slightly above average at 6'4". It's there's no one that's undersized except maybe Colin Sexton. But if you're playing him at point guard, he's mildly undersized.
Yeah, and it's I was thinking about this just the other day, just with the size and length that Utah has assembled. It initially, when I was looking at that, I was thinking, well, gosh, the NBA the last few seasons has been shown that small ball is the way to go. And then, of course, Denver kind of flipped that on its head this last championship run. But I don't think when you look at Utah's roster that you think, oh, Utah's going big ball. They're going to go bully ball. This is a team that can play, quote-unquote, small ball. But if they do, they're going to have length and size at small ball positions. So if somebody chooses to go small at multiple positions on the court, Utah can easily match that and still have length and athleticism and still be in really good position.
Yeah, they're playing tall players who can still play the smaller positions. Markkanen can play small forward, and he will. Kelly Olynyk can play power forward and does in a lot of cases. So this isn't the Jazz playing Rudy Gobert and Derek Favors next to each other, and that's big ball.
Right.
But, if they start, Walker Kessler and John Collins, that's similar in size and length to, Gobert and Derek Favors. Maybe you're losing a couple inches there, but it's completely different.
Oh, their skill sets and athleticism, very different.
Yeah, and especially if it were like Lauri Markkanen at the power forward. It just this you'd have, in terms of total height, it would be probably about the same. But it's just massively different. The height numbers are similar to these old, start two big power forward, center types. The height numbers may be similar, but it's completely different basketball. And that's probably one of the things to be most excited about is the length and potential versatility of this team, especially in that front court. And it's why we're all begging to see somebody in the back court stand out. Because you have this front court that's set up to be this crazy mix of versatility, shooting, defense, and length. And you got to have somebody in the back court to ring it all together.
Right. Just need somebody to kind of direct traffic and initiate the offense. And I think one thing that they were trying to develop last year at the end of the season, and I think to some degree here in the spring as well, or in the summer, is there can be different guys who can do that. And we're going to continue to work on that in the fall. Utah isn't necessarily falling into we need a traditional floor general point guard, but we need multiple guys who can initiate the offense and get things rolling.
Yeah, they just want everybody to be able to pass, everybody able to shoot, everybody able to score, everybody able to play defense. Seems that's the kind of roster building they're doing. We'll see if it works, but it's nice to see they have a vision and they're going with it. All right, so we're going to take another quick break. On the other side, we're going to talk about Utah State. They have gotten a commitment from a corner, former 4-star corner coming out of high school. We'll talk about him and his potential impact on the Aggie secondary coming up next on the Full Court Press.
Advanced Fireplace and Stove wants to thank you for voting them 3 years running the gold medal winners in the Best of Northern Utah contest. With over 35 display models in their showroom, their goal is to make the process of making your home comfortable and cozy an easy experience. With premier brands like Heat and Glow, Quadrifire, and Vermont Castings, they have something for every style, every home, every budget. Building or renovating, they've got you covered. Advanced Fireplace and Stove, where comfort is their business.
At Cache Valley Bank, we are celebrating our pioneers and their contributions to shaping our great state. Join us as we celebrate the Days of 47 with our promotion. From now until July 31st, you can receive a 4.7 annual percentage yield on an 18-month certificate of deposit, or a 4% annual percentage yield on an 1847-day certificate of deposit. Come visit us or give us a call to learn more and be part of the celebration. Cache Valley Bank, mountains await. Member FDIC. No minimum balance required. Early withdrawal penalty may apply.
For more than a century, couples have shopped at S.C. Needham Jewelers. Known for a large selection of beautiful diamonds, we now have both natural and lab-grown diamonds. You are sure to find a diamond engagement ring that will fit your budget. The possibilities today are endless as you select the perfect ring. Show her you'll cherish her forever with a diamond, either natural or lab-grown, from the store where Utah gets engaged. S.C. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Elements has delicious lunch specials. Soup, salad, and bread for just $10 is tasty and quick. Elements lunch menu is full of scrumptious items. Wood-fired pizzas are an excellent choice that include barbecued chicken and the bee's knees. The fresh battered halibut fish and chips with seasoned fries is always a hit. And don't forget the fan favorite, Chipotle fried chicken sandwich. Thursdays, enjoy Elements house-made smoked brisket, casual or professional. Open Monday through Thursday, 11:30 to 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11:30 to 9. Visit theelementsrestaurant.com for reservations. Insurance.
Are you a business owner looking for affordable workers' comp coverage? This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. As an independent auto owner's insurance agency, we work with top-notch carriers to find the best policy for your unique needs. With our experienced agents, you can rest assured that you're getting the best coverage and the best price. Call our office today for a free quote. Quality First Insurance, 752-0101. For more information, go to q1ins.com.
Join the show by calling 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change is open 7 days a week. They're at 695 North Main in Logan. It's quick, clean, easy. That's how it should be when it comes to an oil change. You can stop in today. Or do what my brother did and stop in last Friday, I think. He went and got his oil change there. So it's the hot place to do it.
There you go.
And it's hot weather, so you got to keep your car in tip-top shape.
Do it right.
Yeah, we had to go get his oil change because we took the trip up to Bear River and wanted to make sure his car was ready. Of course, we ended up taking somebody else's car, so it didn't even matter.
But it's ready just in case.
Yeah, it was ready in case we needed it. So anyway, tease right before the end of last segment. Utah State getting a commitment, presumably signing a corner out of UCF. He's a graduate transfer from UCF. Former four-star back in, what would that would put him, like 2020, like class of 2020 or 2021, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He, from what I said, he originally committed to Nebraska, was enrolled there, but then he went to UCF instead. I don't think he actually spent time in Nebraska. Didn't really pan out at UCF. I think he played limited or barely any snaps in 3 seasons.
Some special teams stuff. Didn't really get involved in too many tackles or in the passing game.
Yeah,
defending the passing game.
Should tell you his name. We keep talking about him. Is Jaiden Francois? Is that how you say it?
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, that's this is the so he tweeted it on his Twitter. Obviously, that's how you tweet. But it was kind of interesting because I retweeted it and was provided some background. Then I was looking at his feed is he only said that he was transferring a week ago. And I think it was July 12th. You looked it up. It was July 12th. So I guess 5 days ago. And the window closed on April 30th or something like that? So unless he was already in, which is very likely, it's not like his Twitter feed is the end-all be-all of when he entered the portal.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But hopefully he's able to join the Aggie secondary, because something I pointed out when I retweeted is this secondary needs depth, and it also needs experience. There's so many young players. And Jaiden's not played a ton, but at least he's been on roster. He's been out there. He's been with the Division I team for a while. And, he's a talented kid. He's got talent in there somewhere. May not have come out at UCF. But there's something there, and that's kind of what we're banking on with half the guys in the secondary, or almost all the guys in the secondary. We're banking on the talent's there, we promise. It's just got to have the right situation, which is probably why Jaiden's coming here, because he's going to come into a situation where he has a chance to battle for, snaps in a very wide open battle for snaps at corner.
He fits the mold where things are going with Utah State in their secondary. 6 feet tall, 190 pounds. He's got good size. Looks like a good frame. I'm a little worried that we haven't seen much of him. And so I'm a little hesitant to get too excited yet. I think I learned my lesson last year from the wide receiver from Alabama. Don't get caught up in the hype.
Yeah, don't get caught up in the all the 4 stars.
Yeah, let's see what he can actually do and see how we can actually integrate. But if he can, it's great. I mean, another player from an experienced program, didn't see much playing time there, didn't see a lot of situational stuff. So let's hope that a fresh start provides that opportunity for him. because he could be a real asset in a secondary that has been getting bigger, longer, and stronger for Utah State.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it where you said this commitment is along the lines of what Utah State's trying to do. And then I'd add that, not only is it, along the lines of them trying to get longer, which is something they've definitely done where almost all the corners are 6 foot or taller, except for like a couple. But it's also just along the lines of something I've been saying for like the whole summer is this coaching staff, they've had to deal with a very unideal situation where they lose a ton of experience, a ton of talent, a ton of rotation guys, a lot of starters, some star players. Their job in recruiting was to go out and get guys who will give them a chance in terms of how much talent they have. Is Jaiden Francois a guarantee to pan out? No, he's not. But there's a chance. There's talent there, and if the guy is coachable, and if he buys in, and if the defensive system's good, there's a chance. The coaches basically have a two-pronged, situation, two-pronged solution. Go out and get talent, and then coach that talent. They have very clearly fulfilled that first obligation. They have done very well in recruiting talent and finding kids who have the, if it all magically came together, they could potentially be the best team in the conference. Now, that is a, universe which is way out there and is not going to happen. At least I don't think so.
But you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance. Like that, whole Avengers thing where it's like the 14 million futures. And one of them is where the Aggies go like undefeated because they have enough talent that they could be really, really good.
So 2444, one of the questions posed before the show began posed two questions. One was about Sam Merrill. The second one was about Francois. Question of the day, what do you guys predict the starting secondary to be with the addition of Francois?
That's rough because it's just like, all right, which of the Power 5 or former really talented, former high recruited corners is just going to win the battle? Simeon Harris, Al Ashford, now Jaiden Francois. You got to throw Xavion Steele in there, Michael Onyanwu. I figure Michael Onyanwu's going to start somewhere in there because he's the most one of the most experienced players on the roster. Period. Behind, I think only behind Hale Motuapuaka.
Right.
Can't talk today.
Yeah, Simeon Harris saw action at Colorado.
Yeah, he actually has the most experience. Al Ashford and Francois basically didn't play. Ashford's a little younger. I think he's a freshman or redshirt freshman, maybe a sophomore this upcoming year. But yeah, Harris, he'll be a sophomore. He played as a freshman. He's going to be a sophomore because he played too much as a freshman. So that's why I think he'd probably have an edge there. I tend to go with him maybe as, him and Michael Onyanwu. But I've seen all kinds of different predictions and combinations, and I just don't know. And I'm kind of waiting until fall when a lot of these guys get here and a lot of them have a chance, and I see who's out there. So right now, I'd give the edge to Simeon Harris, Michael Onyanwu, like your two starting corners. But who knows? There's a lot of talented guys who are going to be fighting for those spots.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks nice on paper, but let's see what it looks like in person.
Yeah.
So great that Utah State has continued to tap into the transfer portal or find players from other programs to come in and fill some gaps. But until we see what they actually could do, I'm going to reserve a little bit of my excitement about that until I see what happens here in a couple of weeks when they start to report to camp.
Yeah, and it's getting closer. We got Mountain West Media Days later this week.
Yes, true.
So anyway, we're going to take another quick break. We're going to finish out the show with Pick 6 results. Who won from the predictions from over the weekend? See who's the best at picking things. So far, it's been me for the last month and a half.
It's not been a good summer.
We'll see if Eric can break that streak. Coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. We have some surprising but awesome news to announce. Purple, the rocket ship in the mattress industry, has purchased IntelliBed, the best mattress in the industry. We could not be more excited. The beds have yet to arrive, but we flew out with Purple, and seriously, this new IntelliBed Purple lineup, it is immaculate. We have the whole Purple lineup and the IntelliBed Purple lineup. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress, now partnered with IntelliBed Purple.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
Hello, I'm Daryl, the guy who started Daryl's Appliance back in the 1970s. A lot has changed in 50 years, but not the great people of Cache Valley. We love our customers and we thank you for keeping us in business.
Hello, I'm Daryl's son Jeff. We have 5 factory-trained technicians, which means that we will have your appliances performing at their best. Our parts department has most of the parts that our techs need to repair your appliance on the first visit. Daryl's Appliance, open till 6 weekdays and until 5 on Saturdays.
Girls, us guys are always trying to score some brownie points, but we need all the help we can get. So dropping some subtle hints is helpful, such as your favorite food is Italian, you love the color green, and you want the ring from Jarek's Fine Jewelry, the place with the bright green cars on 930 North Main Street. Okay, so it might not be so subtle, but that's okay. Remember, we need the help. Make it special, make it Jarek's. Now remember, just tell him it's the place with the bright green cars.
The new Prodigy Brewing on Center Street in Logan offers an atmosphere that's vibrant, energetic, and friendly. Serving handmade juicy burgers, wood-fired pizzas, wings, nachos, and locally crafted beer while bringing a unique space to downtown Logan. Now offering lighter lunch options like personal-sized pizzas and sliders, or choose from your favorites like wings, beer cheese, fried pickles, and more. Stop by for a quick and delicious lunch that will get you back to work on time. Experience Prodigy Brewing, exceptional food, extraordinary service, and family-friendly on Center Street in downtown Logan.
It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
If you're a do-it-yourself kind of guy, then your locally owned Napa Auto Parts store is a good place to know. Napa features all the best brands: Hoyle, Amsel, Schaefer, BG, Seafoam. You can tell I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy because I had to think for a second before pronouncing all those brand names. the do-it-yourself people will know.
They'll recognize.
Yeah, they know all the brands in auto, and they've got them there. So, pick 6 results. I've been bragging about my streak for a long time. We'll see what happens here. So. The results, the 6 things we try to predict.
At this point, I'm not confident. Just past performance predicts future results. So
I went on a streak last summer. Did pretty well there. All right, so we'll start with this. Real Salt Lake, they play the New York Red Bulls. The line was set RSL by 1.5 goals. I took the under. I was confident RSL would win, but not by more than 1 goal. You took the over.
Yeah.
RSL won 3-1.
3-1.
So there you go. You got one.
Yeah.
Jazz Suns Friday Summer League. Johnny Juzang over under 9.5 points. I took the under. You took the over. Juzang had 24. So you're up 2-0. WNBA All-Star Game on Saturday. Line was set Team Wilson to win by 6.5 points over Team Stewart. I took the over. You took the under. Well, Team Stewart won. 143-127. So whatever that is.
It's by a lot.
It's by a lot. So you're up 3-0 now.
Wow.
So all you got to do is get one of your lines, then you win, guaranteed. Then we had combined plus minus for Justin Bean and Taylor Funk in there. They both played on Friday. You set the line plus 2.5, so they're combined plus minus. Justin Bean was plus 12 in his game.
He did well.
Yeah. Taylor Funk was minus 15.
A little bit different.
You took the over, I took the under, so I got one back. I still have a chance. But that's not going to last very long because Ochai Agbaji, you set the line points, rebounds, and assists. Combined points, rebounds, and assists. You set the over-under at 30.5. I took the over, you took the under. Ochai Agbaji didn't play you set this line.
Right.
So you got that one there, so you've already won it. But the final one, Cubs-Red Sox. Their 3-game series over the weekend. You just said, how many wins will the Cubs get? Over under 0.5. We both took the over. They got the 1 win, they lost a series, but they got the one win.
They got their one win.
So we both got that one on the over. You got the tiebreaker, which is Justin Bean over under rebounds against the Knicks on Friday. Over under was 5.5. You took the under. He had 3.
Yeah.
So, but
there we
not
go.
Including the tiebreaker, you won 5-2.
Wow. Amazing.
Absolutely crushed it this week.
I'm just setting you up for a new streak to begin next week.
There we go. Like I said, summer's my time. The time when I'm usually least confident in my lines and predictions is the time where I apparently do the best somehow. I don't know what it is. Because that happened last year. I was like, every week I'm like, I don't even know what I'm picking. You're doing baseball lines, and I'm like, I don't even know what these names are. Like, what is a stolen base? It's just, and I somehow managed to win. Then we get into my stuff with football and basketball, and it's like, I'm terrible at predicting these.
It's a greater equalizer when we both have an idea of what's going on. Yeah. Because you'll throw out some Major League Soccer stuff at me, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's basic stuff that are so winning, which they're doing a lot of right now. They're winning a lot.
Just a reminder, coming up later this week, we'll start the top 25 Aggies for this upcoming season. Start with some of the honorable mentions and some other big news coming our way about Utah State athletics. So stay tuned for that. It's all coming up this week here on the Full Court Press.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you all have a good Monday.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. In today's NFL, the running back position is starting to become a dying breed. There's still plenty of elite athletes, but due to the wear and tear of the position, NFL teams are losing that bell cow mentality in favor of committee approach. And that made extensions difficult for stars like Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs and Austin Eckler, 3 running backs who can do it all. But when you look at the Super Bowl champs over the last decade, it makes sense why teams may be more hesitant to commit to those players long term. Kansas City won the Super Bowl last year with a 7th-round draft pick, Isaiah Pacheco. 2021, the Rams used 2nd-round pick Cam Akers. The year before that, Tampa Bay rode Leonard Fournette. The 3 running backs combined to make less than $6 million in base salary. Barkley, Jacobs, and Eckler are expecting close to 3 times that payday. And although it may be hard to see talented players walk, the results speak for themselves. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.